Morning world, I'm making cholent. This morning I have a large crock pot. I like to preheat mine, and I also preheat the water. First thing I do is my children don't really like cut up potatoes and they tend to melt in the cholent. So I use fingerling potatoes, and you can get these, any supermarket really. Just make sure you clean them very well. I like to use Fit Wash or another organic wash, and I tend to buy organic vegetables as well because they taste better. So what you want to do is just go ahead and put your fingerling potatoes in the bottom of your pot after they're nice and clean. And these will soak up all the nice juices, and it will prevent your meat from burning. So as you see, I just have them nice and spread out across the bottom of the pot. And then you want to, with your meat, you want to use either a flank or a chuck, something with a lot of fat. It doesn't really matter how tough your meat is because you're going to be cooking this, 10 to 18 hours, depending on when you like to serve your cholent. I prefer to do the 10-hour, but many people do it for 18 hours or more. So I use flanken steak. The kosher meats are the best cuts, of course, are the flanken, and as for this are the flanken. I will also buy kosher chuck. It's kosher chuck, and I've just cut it up into nice size medallions. I have a 13-year-old son, so yeah, you get that. Okay, so we've put our fingerling potatoes and our beef with pepper inside our crock pot. Some people will say this is sacrilege, but I like to add a little bit of onion for sweetness. I use a Vidalia. And these are going to melt, so really you won't have any crunchy onions anywhere in your cholent. Okay, so on top of the fingerling potatoes and the flanken and again Vidalia onions, no, it's not sacrilege. People make cholent many different ways. I'll put some awesome consommé, and I like to use herbes de Provence because I like rosemary and thyme and marjoram. Above your awesome, you want to put a nice healthy portion, about a tablespoon and a half of paprika, and that will give your cholent a nice brown tone, as you can see. Above that, I like to put honey. Many people will use Geffen, which is typical, but I'm allergic to clover honey, so I use orange blossom honey. It is OU by Archer Farms, comes from Target, or you can use any local honey that is kosher, and just swirl it around nicely. Some people will use barbecue sauce, and for me that's sacrilege. So, okay, now comes the big boys. Some of the most important ingredients of a cholent are the beans and the barley. So I usually use kidney beans or red beans. You don't need to soak them since you're going to be cooking this for a long time. About a cup to a cup and a half, about a half a cup to a cup of barley. And this is going to overflow at some point. I may end up having to switch this to a larger pot. My children happen to like carrots a lot, like a traditional stew, but I don't like to cut them up because I know they're just going to melt into my cholent, and I don't really want that. So I just like to set them on top. And this also prevents too much stuff from floating. Okay, and then you just take your water. I've preheated mine because I've just noticed that it cooks better when I preheat it. And you just want to cover everything. As you can see, it's all coming together quite nicely. You want to cover everything in the pot. Those beans and barley are going to soak up all of that water and the potatoes and everything, so you'll have a nice thick sticky stew by the end of this. You can put a piece of foil over it or not, or under it or not. It's up to you and how you cook. I don't. I just put the top right on, so if I have excess it can steam away. And that's it. That is making cholent. If you use a good piece of kosher meat and you've already salted and soaked it, you don't really need to add any salt at all. And that's about it. In about 10 to 18 again hours, it'll be ready to go and just delightful. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.